Hello, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming here to our Beach Connection session today. This is, I think, our fifth one now. But our Beach Connections webinar today is with our Counseling and Psychological Services team. We're so happy to have you all join us for today's presentation. If you haven't already met me, I'm Nina Luxon. I'm the program coordinator for New Student and Family Programs, and I mainly work with parents and families throughout the summer, throughout the academic year. So you will see a lot of me in our communications and in all of our webinars. You'll also see me as well. If you've already attended parent and family orientation, you likely have already met me. So welcome back. For those that haven't, welcome to the team. Um, we will start with a presentation from our Counseling and Psychological Services representative, Christopher, with us today. And then we will begin answering questions at the very end. We will answer those questions live. So please make sure to put any of your questions that you have in either the Q&A box at the bottom or in the chat box. Either one we will be checking. And we're happy to answer those questions for you at the end of today's presentation. For all of our attendees, if you could please remain muted throughout the duration of the webinar, that just helps us streamline all of our communication to our parents and families and helps us maintain the focus on the presentation. So that would be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce Christopher so that we can begin the Counseling and Psychological Services presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nina, and welcome everyone. Let me just pull up my presentation for you all. And right here, go ahead and share it and we'll get started. But yes, I love questions. Feel free to share them in the chat and I hope I can answer all of your questions at the end. Just to reintroduce myself, my name is Christopher Liao. I'm the outreach coordinator for counseling and psychological services, also known as CAP, because that is a mouthful. So I'll be referring to our department as CAP throughout the whole presentation. But yeah, let's get started. So who are we? We are one of the mental health arms on campus. We provide free mental health services to all students seeking a degree. So that is all your incoming students. So if they need a layer of support and need someone to talk to, we have a versatile team of licensed professionals. We have psychologists, licensed clinical social workers, and licensed marriage and family therapists for them to talk to Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, either in person or on Zoom, but I'll get a little bit more into that. If your student is 18 and over, all their information is confidential. So that means whether your faculty, other staff members, their friends that are also students there, or basically anyone cannot call our office and see if they're associated with our services. We would have to get a release of information, an ROI from the student to give any kind of information to any individual or any kind of departments or companies that might be seeking information. If they're under the age of 18, we do go through what is a form of consent from their guardian by a case-by-case basis. But most of the time, usually our students are usually 18 when they do come here. But if they're under the age of 18, does not mean they cannot utilize this service. If you see this lovely picture right here, it's a picture of our team, or at least most of them. We had a couple of our members missing. So feel free, you can see, just get a bit friendly with us. If your students are trying to see or have any questions about our department, they can stop us anytime on campus and ask those questions. You see, move here. But I really wanted to share some data because we are a data-driven campus about what your student could be experiencing at their time here on their academic journey. So we do is what we call as a National College Health Assessment every 2 years. Our last one was in 2024, so we're due now in 2026. And when we did a survey about, I believe it was 3,381 students, which was about 10% of the population at the time. We looked at the major impactors of their academic performance, and what was reported back was 48% was procrastination, 35% was stress, 27% anxiety, and finances was 24%, and the last was sleep difficulties for 22%. So although their college journey is going to be amazing, filled with new beautiful experiences, and for them to really come into themselves and realize who they are as an individual and going into their first major adult chapter, there is going to be a lot of challenges in which they'll be facing. So I want to give you a couple of those impactors in which they might face so you can prepare yourselves in the case they come to you first to talk about those issues. The one that's most of these are very straightforward, but procrastination can be a variety of reasons. Um, Maybe they are dealing with some nerves, maybe they're having a lot of balance of their own responsibilities. So procrastination tends to be the more ambiguous one. But nonetheless, if they ever need a layer of support, they can always come to us at CAPS and a variety of health and wellness resources, in which I'll highlight later for them to get that support here. And just a little bit more data, just particularly when it comes to us. So some of that data that was given, like 17% of those respondents utilized our services at CAPS. 27% reported they had some form of level of stress in the last 30 days. And at the time when the survey was given, it was around midterms and finals. So no wonder students were feeling that high stress. That is that go time for most of our students, especially when they're trying to balance their other roles, whether they may be a caregiver or also working as well. 24% say they received service in the last 12 months. What's the difference between that 24% and that 17? That 24 represents how many students sought services in all of the health and wellness services, not generally particular to CAPS. Um, the reason I wanted to show this data is that you can get an idea of how common it is for students to reach out for support. A lot of times our students tend to internalize their experiences and think they are the only one, when actuality, there's a lot of other students on campus who might be going through a similar experience, and they do have the support here. Again, just to reiterate, we are free. It's already covered with tuition, so there'll be no money out of pocket. So we only would enhance their support system beyond you all as their family members or their friends. And a general message that we are trying to give to students on campus, and hopefully you can help us spread that message, is that the highest priority that they have is their overall mental health and wellness, because that's what's really going to carry them to their academic and personal goals. We often see a lot of our students are like risk everything for the A, for the degree, in which we want them to succeed in their academic efforts. But if they're not taking care of themselves, they're not going to reach their goals. Mhm. So if they do decide to utilize us, we have a variety of services for them. So we are a mental health service, so we do offer individual and group counseling. Group counseling differs where we have about 68 of their peers who meets with a counselor on a weekly basis throughout the semester. While individual services, define it as short term, in which they'll get to meet with a counselor one-on-one to get assist with any of their challenges or experiences that they may be facing. And then we also offer our group workshops. Our group workshops are for those individuals or students who are not really looking for a processing space or unpacking their feelings. They just want to learn a certain skill. We offer a variety of workshops every semester. Some really common and popular ones is Anxiety Toolbox, where students learn about their own anxiety, how they've been currently coping with it, as well as how they can incorporate more healthy coping mechanisms into their daily lives. Another popular one is healthy relationships, where they learn how to establish healthy communication and boundaries, not only in their romantic relationships, but in their platonic ones as well, which we find really key in building their networking when they're going on to the actual careers. We also have a trans care team for any student that identifies as a trans community and they're looking for tailored specific care, they can come to our services. We offer it in counseling as well as getting help with referrals to off-campus resources and getting letters of support for gender affirming care. And the message that we also are trying to share with our campus is we often get the recognition of we are the go-to mental health service in which we appreciate it and we are proud to like offer the best service that we can and then it's available. But we might not be everyone's cup of tea and we might not be a good fit for your student. They get to determine that in their initial consultation when they do their individual or group counseling. But if they decide they don't want to see us for whatever reason, maybe that's they don't want to see their counselor on campus walking by during lunchtime, or maybe they feel like they have more privacy and confidentiality off campus. That's totally okay. We have an amazing case manager that's been with us for 15 plus years. She knows a lot of resources off campus and can work with students with or without insurance. And we recognize insurance tends to be a major barrier for most students, but we located some resources that can assist them even without insurance. And then we have a variety of outreach programs, which I'll be talking about a little bit in this presentation. But again, I know I threw a lot of information at you right now. If you have any questions, again, drop those in the Q&A or in the chat. But if your student is asking for support, you can always tell them this how they can make an appointment with us. So they can either call us at 562-985-4001 or come visit us in Brotman Hall 226. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If they do decide to make an initial or group consultation, And then individual or group counseling, we'll sign them up for an initial consultation where they get to meet with a counselor, learn about our services, and we get to see what they are experiencing to see how we can better support them. CSU Long Beach, as you may know, is a commuter campus, so we like to offer our services on Zoom as well for the students to have to go back and forth or maybe have more privacy at their own home. And the day of the appointment, they'll just fill out some paperwork. This paperwork is very similar as if they were going to the doctor for the first time, where we get that basic information and see why they're coming in for the day. You might hear, or students often think they can schedule an appointment with us online. Our office is still very old school. We're trying to keep up with the rest of the campus, so they either can call or come in person to make an appointment. And they're like, where's Brotman Hall? That's where they do all their enrollment and financial aid. So we're right there on the second floor with the rest of them. You can come find us there again, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. And like I mentioned earlier, not everyone's looking for therapy. So this is actually my favorite service and one I love highlighting to anybody that's new, whether that's first year or transfers or generally anyone on campus. These are our drop-in community spaces. These are designed for students just to have fun, build connection, and de-stress from academics. They're non-committal. They don't have to be a client or be seen a counselor to utilize these spaces. Everyone is welcome on campus, and we have a variety of identities. So I'm just going to go through them all. So we have Rainbow Cafe. That's for anyone who identifies within the queer and trans community, or as well as questioning whether it's their gender identity or sexual identity. We have Latinos at the Beach for anyone who identifies as Latina. Sticky rice at the beach is for anyone who identifies as Asian, Pacific Islander, or Desi. Oh, before I keep going on, if you want to find more information, feel free to scan that QR code. It'll take you to our website where we have our current information about our drop-in community spaces. But I do like to let you know we are going to update it about maybe a month before the school year starts with all of our spring information, or not spring, sorry, fall information as it's reflecting our spring from 2025. And then we have Sister Friends, where anyone identifies as a Black woman. And then we have our Buddies Connected to the Beach, which is special compared to the other spaces because this is a general space for everyone. Everyone is welcome to attend this space. It's under our peer wellness program called Rising Tides, in which I'll tell you about in a little bit. They focus on wellness in a very informal and fun way, where they really take student feedback and what kind of events, workshops, or games that they want to do and really incorporate it for them. And then we have Thoughtful Thursday. Thoughtful Thursday is unique compared to our dropping community spaces because they only meet once a month compared to our other spaces meet weekly. Thoughtful Thursday is a guided mindfulness and meditation space led by one of our mental health professionals. So if your student was ever wanting to get into that practice and didn't know how, let us take the reins for them and teach them how to do it. We do it in our old Japanese garden, which is free for all students, which is probably the most beautiful and perfect location to start practicing mindfulness and meditation. There's serene sounds, there's a koi pond, music playing. And it really is a nice getaway from a very large campus that we have if every student just needs a little little moment of peace and quiet. Mhm. So if your student has no experience with mental health services and wants to get general information, we have what we call as our Let's Talk spaces. These are what we call our informal consultation, where they still get to meet with a counselor face to face and get that friendly connection and really ask those general questions like, what is therapy? How does confidentiality apply to me? What are some resources that you guys have available that might be able to help me? Students can actually book this appointment on Calendly. You can scan the QR code or have the URL link right there, and which will be offering the fall. Some of our Let's Talk spaces are actually available now if they are currently a full-time student, in which I believe your students won't be available until about 2 weeks before the academic year starts. But yeah, this is something that's available to them. Maybe they're just nervous and kind of want to ask those questions without feeling like they're doing a full commitment. Then this is definitely a space for them. Mhm. So as you can see, most of our services are scheduled by appointment, but we do understand there are those times where there's an urgency or an emergency. So we have is what is our on-call walk-in crisis counseling. This is for anyone that experiencing an urgency or emergency that's preventing them from carrying on their day. They can't focus on class. They're having a hard time doing their job. They just really need to talk to someone. This is a service for them. We offer this in two ways. They can either walk into our office Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 when we're open, again in Brotman Hall 226, and ask for a crisis counselor. Or they can all call our number if they don't want to come talk to someone in person at 562-985-4001 at any time and get connected to a crisis counselor. Just a note that if they call between office hours, they will connect with one of our crisis counselors. But if they're calling after hours, they're going to connect with what we call as our third-party crisis counseling company called Protocol, in which they're all licensed professionals as well that can support them. And if they need additional support, we'll get a report from Protocol to follow up with that student. And then last but not least, which is not particularly in the CAPS department, but as a campus, they can always text Beach to 741-741 to the campus Beach text line, where they get connected with a crisis volunteer and get support as they need it. Um, we have a lot of students that tend to get intimidated by the word crisis. They tend to doubt their experience is maybe not that serious or maybe not that large of a deal. Either way, they just really need to talk to someone. This is a service for them. We're never going to turn away a student and say that they're not dealing with the crisis. They're not dealing with the crisis. We're just going to try and make sure they get the support they need. Now, I would love to tell you about our Rising Tides. This is our peer wellness program, as I mentioned earlier. So this is for students, led by students. They're dedicated to peer mentorship about mental health and wellness. They provide training and knowledge about suicide prevention. They build a lot of community on campus through their drop-in space and their various events, as well as gain access to resources. We were formerly known as this peer wellness program was known as Project Ocean last year, but just to show how much we reflect our students and how it is for students, we had the campus vote what we call as our Live Your Life Day, which is a day of celebration, however you live your life, getting connected to off and on campus resources. Students voted on the new name in which they came up with was Rising Tides. Rising Tides is dedicated to elevating mental health awareness through their various workshops, their Buddies Connect at the Beach, or their pop-up and trainings. They wanting to make sure that students really hold that mental health as a priority and their overall wellness as their priority to make sure they get to their academic and personal goals. They also boost accessibility to resources. There's such a beautiful connection or impact, I would say, when students get information from other students. So we make sure to train our peer educators about the various resources on campus. So a student does tend to discuss what they're going through. One of our peer mentors can link them to that resource. And through their various educational workshops, we're working on them breaking the stigma around mental health and wellness, maybe talking about how to how to talk about when someone is having suicide ideation, or maybe how to really take out any negative or perceptions of mental health. That's what our peer educators do through their various trainings. And for you all, if you want to note this down, again, we're Buddies at the Beach, which is a general space for everyone. Our wellness kickoff is from September 11th. We are still deciding the time, but we're going to be in front of the C-Pace building. If your student wants to come and build community, that is going to be during Suicide Prevention Week. So it's going to be one of our big moments for Buddies Connect at the Beach and for Rising Tides. So hopefully they can join us. On the slide, you can see a variety of pictures of activities that we do on a weekly basis. So there's vinyl painting, they make soaps, they do canvas painting. A lot of the popular ones too are video game competitions. Maybe they will do propagation, so they will make their own plants. And we always connect it to some form of mental health or wellness topic to show how their daily lives can always have that reminder or that incorporation of wellness altogether. Mhm. But as parents, these are some resources I definitely want to highlight on top of our own. All of our health and wellness services work closely together. But if you or your student, or if your student ever shares with you they're going through a hard time, right there, I always recommend them to Beach Wellness. You can scan that QR code and bookmark it on your phone. So not only they'll be able to see our resources caps, but they can see all the health and wellness resources. It's a one-stop shop for all that they would need when it comes to food, housing, academics, whether they get tutoring or the writing center, you name it, it is there. And those are all the free resources on campus. But we also recognize that students may not only be dealing with their stressors, maybe your family is going through a hard time. So this is a resource I love sharing. This is called Find Help Now. Find Help Now is an anonymous resource web page where you can take a short 1 minute to 2 minute survey about your experience. It will not collect any data on you, but it will share with all the resources within that county based on your zip code. So you get like an instant page, contact information, a summary of what the resource is, and how they can support you. So this is really good for you all to know as well. If you beyond your core family, if other families are going through something and you need some support, I definitely would recommend Find Help Now. Um, and see, the only thing I would tell you about Find Help Now is really ensuring and following up with that resource about their confidentiality, because different resources have different limitations to confidentiality. So you should be informed about that when you make that call to them. And this is just for you all to know. So all students get access to their single sign-on. On the very top in the middle is their health and wellness resources. If they click on that, they'll get taken to the bottom, the middle tab of health and wellness resources and see that's all available to them. So maybe if you forget our name, with caps or beach wellness, tell them to go there and they'll be able to get access to it. Something I would love to highlight that I haven't talked about earlier is CARES. So CARES is a triage system that we have on campus that's connected to all the health and wellness resources. So if a student is ever going through a hard time and it's noticed by another student, staff member, a guardian, family member, or parent, they can all utilize this on anonymous referral where they can give the student's name, and we have case managers that will follow up with them to create an action plan to get any kind of assistance that they need. This program is completely voluntary, so a student does not have to participate if they do not want to. But it's a really great way of building that bridge to those students, because that's usually the major barrier is trying to reach out for help or seeking support. And they're anonymous. So if you submit a report, a cares manager will never reveal where they got the report from, but you will get as a follow-up, a case manager will contact you directly to see what you've experienced or what you noticed, just so they know what kind of information they are going with to recommend to what kind of resources. Mhm. And that's the end of this presentation. This is our contact information as well as like our phone number, office hours. That's also a QR code to our website. I highly recommend that you have your students and yourself at our Instagram so you can always be aware of what we're doing that can support your student. And if you have any further questions, feel free to email us at caps@csulb.edu so we can answer those questions for you if I'm not able to answer, or if you didn't think of any questions now, you put in the chat. But yeah, I really thank you all for coming, for really taking an active role into your students' overall health and wellness, and I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christopher. I appreciate it. For anybody that's in the room, if you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the chat now. And we're happy to answer those for you. We do have one question in the chat. It says, my daughter recently was diagnosed with severe depression from her psychologist. Do you have psychiatrists on site? Excuse me.
We do have a part-time psychiatrist under our student health services. So if your student would like to get connected to that service, they're more than welcome to. They can call student health services directly and schedule that appointment to see with the case manager, which will link them to the psychiatrist. But if your student wants additional support, they're more than welcome to utilize our services to get that support.
Perfect. Could you maybe put the screen up that has the contact information back up just so that folks can capture that if they need to reach out?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. Any other questions, folks? Please drop them in the chat. We'll be here for just a couple of minutes if nobody has questions. And the contact information is right up there on the screen. Any questions, folks? I don't see anything in the chat or in the Q&A. Okay, somebody's question in the chat, it says, kids coming with anxiety medications, RXs, are they able to refill those through student health services? And what is the process for that?
Mhm. So this question would be more with student health services. 'Cause I know it's usually a case by case basis, but when it comes to the filling of a prescription, it tends to be an off-campus like usually in the off-campus pharmacy. Particularly the psychiatrist gives them with their own direct clients, at least a little bit of supply to get them through until they get connected to a main supplier.
I also just put the Student Health Services website in the chat to ask them any questions regarding prescriptions. They were here with us last week for our Beach Connection session, and I believe what they said was that for prescriptions, they don't accept outside they don't accept prescriptions from outside doctors. They would need to see one of our student health services representatives to have that prescription written, and then they would get it filled at a pharmacy nearby or at student health services. But I would contact their office directly with any of those questions. The other question, are we able to access the recorded beach connections if missed? Yes, I will talk about that here just in a second. So just stick around and seeing if any other folks have questions for Christopher about CAPS.
Oh, I can add while we're thinking about questions. One thing I forgot. So our rising tide, so we do hire students. So if your student is interested in job, we hire across all majors. All we ask is that they have a passion for wellness and promoting it on campus, and we'll train them to do the rest. I actually worked as a mental health peer when I was in college, and it was a wonderful experience in preparing me for my future career goals. So yeah, I just want to drop that as well if they're ever interested in working.
Good to know. I know in a parent family orientation, lots of parents are interested in students working on campus. So that's really awesome to hear that you have that available. Awesome. We'll give it just another minute so that anybody can submit questions if they have them. Please do. This is the time. So if you have questions, please submit them through the chat or through the Q&A box. We're happy to answer those. Okay, I'm not currently seeing any questions. So I will go ahead and I'm putting in a few things into the chat right now. So those are a few links. The first one is for parent and family orientation. If you have not already attended a parent and family orientation sessions, we really suggest that you do. We cover a lot of really important information for parents and families to know. We do parent and family orientation every single day alongside the student SOAR experience. So if you'd like to come out and join us for the day, we're happy to take you for parent and family orientation. Just let us know. We also have our free bi-weekly Beach Family newsletter, which is the primary way that we communicate with all parents and family members. And that is available in the chat right now as a link. So if you could, please go and register for that. The next edition for that comes out actually on Wednesday. So you should be able to get that information and sign up for our Beach Family newsletter to stay up to date on all of our key information regarding parents and families and things on campus and so forth. And then lastly, to answer that question about the recorded beach connection sessions, the last link is to our parent and family YouTube page. So that will house all of our recorded sessions for our beach connection sessions over the summer thus far, including this one. This one will be available beginning tomorrow. So you'll be able to access that on our YouTube page. But that is pretty much it, folks. I think we can maybe wait for one more minute to see if anybody has any questions. If not, we will close this out. So I think that if anybody got the contact info, they should be good now, Christopher.
Awesome.
All right, all right. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, but if you do have questions, please feel free to reach out to the contact information that was provided, or reach out to PFO at CSULB, and we are happy to send you over to the person that can best support you. But regardless, thank you all so much for joining us for this afternoon's Beach Connection sessions. It was really great to see you all. Thank you so much, Christopher, for joining us, and we will talk to you all soon. Go Beach!
Thank you all.
Thank you.